Welcome back to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. As always, we appreciate you listening. Please rate us on all the podcast platforms. Like, subscribe, comment, share wherever else you're listening.
All right, welcome back to another episode. We appreciate you listening as always. Want to thank Adam Chubbuck with Douglas Realty in Pasadena. Go to tacmd.com. tacmd.com. That's tacmd.com. We're going to come up on some uncertain real estate times, especially with the mortgage rates. Trump is a wild card in that office, along with Elon Musk. So we don't know where anything is going at any point in time. But you want to know who does? Adam does over at Douglas Realty in Pasadena. And even if he can't predict the future, at least he can kind of read the tea leaves of what may be coming down. Because let's face facts, if you or I are in the real estate market, we surely don't know. So let's put our trust into someone who is paying attention. And that's Adam over at Douglas Realty, tacmd.com, tacmd.com. Give him a call. Put your trust into someone who I trust, and make sure you're not trying to make a big transaction without some help. All right, I got Mike and Jeremy here.
Hey-o.
I'm going to cough and make it good radio. So, it's all known. We're Ravens fans, have been. We've talked about Ravens before. It's unfortunate the way the Ravens season ended. We haven't talked about it. It's been about 3-4-ish weeks since it happened. I've been holding in my sorrow and tears for this specific episode, although didn't expect to have this added storyline to it. So we're going to start with the Justin Tucker situation. So I'm going to have some fairly unpopular opinions, especially having two girls. So for those that don't know, Justin Tucker, kicker, Hall of Fame kicker, or will be the Hall of Fame kicker for the Baltimore Ravens when all is said and done, had some accusations come out about him. And I'm going to preface this by saying everything is alleged. So we're not saying anything is finalized, nothing is in stone. Everything that we're going to talk about is opinions or allegedly. Let's get that out of the way right now. Everything is opinion-based, no facts here, only feelings, as always. All right, so Justin Tucker apparently liked to go to the old rub and tug. Well, at least he thought it was a rub and tug, and apparently it wasn't the tug, just the rub. And some ladies didn't really like the fact that something was available to tug, and apparently showing itself as ready, willing, and able. So the ladies had a problem with it, and apparently they had a problem with it a long time ago, but only right now, 2025, I would say it came out probably January, even though we're recording this in February. Justin was apparently a bad boy along the lines of a Deshaun Watson, I believe. Yeah, I can't remember that dude's name because he sucks now. Apparently he forgot how to play football when somebody stopped rubbing his...
The massages gave him power. I didn't realize it.
You know, I don't think people realize like the level that Deshaun Watson used to play at versus what he plays at now.
You could have made a case he was the best quarterback in the league. I'm not saying he was. You could have made a case because of his running and throwing ability.
It's like all of a sudden no one else could rub it for him. Yeah. Like, hey man, if that's your superpower to make you throw the football better, why don't you get someone else to make you do what you do? Yeah. But apparently maybe he went cold turkey. I don't know what Deshaun was thinking.
Well, I mean, so there's layers to this with this story specifically regarding Justin Tucker, because as Rob and I have talked about on my show, that we've known about this for years, the rumors and everything being alleged. And here's what I said, and full disclosure, the reason we didn't come forward and say anything is if none of these women come forward, now I'm left here trying to explain what happened, and I'm slandering a man on the radio with no factual evidence. Right now, even all I have is hearsay. But all the people that told me this, and I know 3 people involved, I trust every one of them. I've known about, like, again, this is something that's come up. It's different massage places, different spas that he went to that don't even coincide with one another. And some of the stuff that was alleged, that he was masturbating on the tables, like he would, have an erect penis and try to rub it against the ladies, which they say that does happen by accident sometimes. But they did this thing where they tucked in Tucker, basically, and where almost swaddled him where he can't. They said you can't get out unless you're purposely trying to get out, like you're getting up. Or you just keep moving to where everything comes out.
So it's like he's tucked into bed like super, super, super tight.
Yeah.
So like his body weight's like
and his boner wiggled it out.
Wow.
So apparently, allegedly,
What's he got a hog on it? Or jeez.
I mean, I don't know. If you're showing it off like that, I'm figuring you must have something special. The one thing that caught me off guard is when they said he came in full Ravens gear and he was telling everybody he's Justin Tucker. I'm going, that seems a little weird. But
seems a little. You think he'd come in with like a hat and sunglasses,
Especially if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
And the most odd thing about this is, and people have said this, I'm not trying to be like weird. If you want to go to a rub and tug, you can find there are places in Baltimore that you can go to. And there's plenty of them, by the way. Not that I don't go to those things, but
no, of course not.
I've got gift certificates.
But if you're talking like circa, what was it, 2016? That's like peak like Backpage and all that stuff. Like it was there. So, and the other thing is, were these places like higher class establishments, or were they okay? So it wasn't like they were going like to the industrial park in Dundalk.
So I went to Ojos, which is one of the ones he was alleged to have done this at, and it's weird because Rob and I had the same massage therapist that listened to the station, like, hey, would love to give you guys throw you the free massage or whatever, and then we always end up paying for it because you end up getting tipped out even more. Mm-hmm. And she was the first one that told me about it, and I'm going, are you being serious? Now, I didn't, like, again, relationship with her grew over the years, so I know her fairly well now, but, like, you start to hear those things, and you're going, man. And then I run into somebody else, one of my close friends he died of a heart issue a few years ago. We just got together with his wife, asked all the friends to get together, kind of like celebrate him, honor him. That was when the Ravens' first playoff game is when we got together. And she told me about one of the girls from the Baltimore Banner was getting her hair done. She's a stylist that works at a spa. And obviously all the girls knew about it. This was being talked about. Two of the girls were talking about it. And the chick from the Banner was getting her hair done next. And that's how, allegedly, that this got out. And now if you look at Justin Fenton, who's a great investigative reporter, if you look at when they put everything at the bottom, who's contributed, there is a woman's name at the bottom. I'm not saying I don't know if she was the one that was there, if it was somebody else, but this is what I was told. And then one of my friends who, he works for Homeland Security, and he's got his hands in a lot of cookie jars and knows a lot of things before they actually come out. He said, hey, when you told us about Tucker years ago, it's coming out in a week or two. The banner's all over. And I said, I just heard it was going to come out.
Wow.
Well, that's a weird thing to say about Tucker because
it did come out.
It did come out.
Allegedly.
Yeah. But look, man, it's so weird because in talking to people that just want to defend him blindly, and I get it because I've never had a bad experience with Justin Tucker. I've always jerked him. No, I'm sorry. I've always I've always had interactions with him where I would say this one of the nicest guys on the Ravens. And this is one of the reasons why I don't make friends with these guys, or at least try to until they get out of the league, because I need to be able to criticize you if you did something wrong. There were people saying, I wonder what Baltimore is going to say about Tucker when they had all this animosity towards Deshaun Watson. I'm going to say the same damn thing.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
And I think people look at these guys, well, first of all, they put them on a pedestal, right? And then from the average fan point of view, then you see how they act. You see how he does he crosses himself before, and as a Catholic, like I see him do the cross, and I know he's supposedly a devout Catholic. I don't know if he went to confessional or anything about this yet, but
probably not.
And then he does the opera singing, which is kind of cool, and the goofy Royal Farms commercial. So that's the person but that's not them. Like you just know the public
persona,
face, the public persona of them. You know how they are. Outside of when they're not on. So
all right, this is gonna be the unpopular part. So when the thing with Deshaun Watson happened, I guess the story was he would go on Facebook to find a massage therapist, and then he would go and meet up with the girls. And in the age of online dating, we're kind of like, we were like the first wave of online dating where you would go and meet up with someone from the opposite sex. You go on a date, whatever, and things happen, things didn't happen, whatever it is. The thing with the Deshaun Watson thing was peculiar, and I should probably be able to pronounce a word if I'm going to use it. But it was strange because the guy found massage therapists on Facebook, and then something did or didn't happen, allegedly, right? And then enough people come forward, and then like, well, if this many people have said it, it must be true. I'll also say this, and you know athletes as well. There are certain types of women out there who know that athletes could be easier targets to get money out of. And there are certainly lawyers who, where if one girl or two girls goes to a lawyer, or let's say if one girl goes to a lawyer and say, hey, this was my experience, that lawyer can find other women to maybe make up stories or basically corroborate or whatever it is in order to get more money. Mm-hmm. And of course, the more women they get, the more the public perception of it is, well, it must have happened. This, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? This many women can't be telling a lie.
You're all supposed to believe all women.
Well, and that too, but I guess with this one, that was kind of my take on the Deshaun Watson thing. Was it gross and disgusting? I mean, who knows? I mean, probably don't do that to women. Don't just. But then at the other side of it, did some of those women kind of want that? And then later, after the fact, it's like, okay, I know who you are. I'm going to let this happen, and then I'm going to go to a lawyer, sue you, and say that it wasn't a wanted advance.
Yeah, Trevor Bauer.
Correct. Right, and that's another thing. Trevor Bauer happened to him, and people might not like Trevor Bauer, but everything that he was accused of ended up being false.
Well, not all of it. So the deal with Trevor Bauer was, and he did get blackballed from the league. There's no question about that. The reason that some people should look a little bit longer at the Trevor Bauer situation is the first girl, one of the girls that alleged it was rough sex. Mm-hmm. And you could see there's video of her smiling and going like she was trying to get him to do something so she can get money out of him, which you're going to have this. Right. I mean, we've had people like Jerome Bettis it was alleged that he raped a girl and she was lying, but he had to deal with that crap because it's the court of public opinion. So you're guilty before proven innocent, which sucks. But with the other stuff with Trevor Bauer that I heard is that the league has another video of him that they don't want to get out with him in the league. That's pretty heinous. And again, it could just be rough sex that looks really bad. I don't know. I haven't seen the video, but they're not letting his ass back in the league.
See, I feel if that was the case, though, he wouldn't be trying hard to get back in because he wouldn't want that released.
Well, because they didn't prove him guilty. That's the problem.
Right, but I'm saying if that other video exists of him, he's currently trying to get back in the league. I'm assuming he knows that other video exists and he wouldn't want it to come out.
Not. I don't know. I'm assuming he would have to because
someone has to have told him. Mm-hmm. Someone from the league must have gone to him and said, hey, look, if you keep trying to get in this league, we're going to release this tape and we'll make sure you never get back in, even though they're pretty much going to make sure he never gets back in anyway. At which point, public opinion-wise, wouldn't he drop it and be like, hey, I don't want this to get out because then I'll never pitch anywhere again?
Yeah, the problem with Trevor Bauer is it's not like the difference between Justin Tucker is most people have had a good run-in with him or he's nice. Oh, he signed an autograph. What a nice guy. He took pictures with my kids. Trevor Bauer was an a-hole to almost everyone. He just did his own thing. Yeah. And it's easier to dismiss a guy when he's a bad guy than it is when they're labeled good guys.
It's the Barry Bonds effect.
Yes.
Right? Barry Bonds was a dick to everybody, and he got no grace when it came to the steroid stuff. Not that he should have, because he probably did them.
Well,
but should it keep him out of the Hall of Fame?
Let me give you the caveat to this, and sorry to interrupt, but Barry Bonds has 7 MVPs. Mm-hmm. Roger Clemens has 7 Cy Youngs. They're both assholes, and they're both not in the Hall of Fame. Andy Pettitte, you look at some of the other guys that have been, we questioned Big Papi, of course. All these guys that were in the Mitchell Report and all these things that went on, those guys all get in the Hall of Fame, but the most talented pitcher and hitter of my era is not going to get in because of the steroid thing, when neither one of them got busted while they were playing for steroids.
Yeah.
So especially at that point, they were all doing it.
Yeah.
Everyone was doing it. And here's the other thing. People love watching these guys hit bombs. I say let them all do it now. They won't just be up there jacked. And
it's very hypocritical of the league to sit here and say, oh, we don't want these guys doing this when you made money off of it and the league got back to being where it was.
But going back to the football side, it wasn't like Watson was unliked. I mean, Watson was well liked. People, I mean, he got accolades across the country for the person he was and the type of player he was.
Because he grew up with a single mom. He was the one that took over Warwick Dunn's. We're giving houses to single moms. Like, he was beloved.
Right. And I feel like, but he also kind of got pulled out during it was right after.
Did you really say pulled out with Deshaun Watson? Jesus.
Wordplay's great.
That's from the core.
But it was right toward probably at the end of the Me Too movement, so that probably didn't help him out. I think with Tucker, because everyone's like, if you need to be exactly how you were with Watson as you were with Tucker. Me, having heard from you and some of the other people in sports, I tend to believe that this is true about him, and so I would actually maybe defend Watson more than I defend Tucker in this regard. Because, again, I think with Watson, I think he probably thought he had an arranged agreement. Whereas Tucker's going into an establishment that doesn't do this for, like, he's going into a legit massage parlor looking for the rub and tug rather than going to the rub and tug and getting the rub and tug. It might be like a kink of his to try and get the girl to do it that doesn't normally do it. And so there's enough fire there to say, allegedly, this may be true. Whereas with Watson, it sounded like there were a lot of girls he met up with via internet that probably had an idea of what he was looking to do, and they wanted to get paid out.
And there are people that are going to jump on board at the very end, like, oh yeah, I gave him a massage. He did that to me just to try to get involved with the class action. But the one other thing that I want to bring up that I found out this weekend regarding whether or not people believe this is true or not, I was told from somebody in the know that they actually have evidence, like a Monica Lewinsky-style dress that somebody cleaned up one of the tables with a rag and kept it in a Ziploc bag all these years in case this ever came out, which sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
But if you have it, and again, I don't know what it means for statute of limitations, if you can prove it. I'm sure Justin Tucker's going to have the best legal team you can possibly have to poke some holes in it. But again, I go back to this. I have no way of telling you 100% that this is true or untrue, but I believe every girl that I talked to that was involved.
The only thing I would say about the whole cleanup rag thing is, let's say he's got nothing on but the towel. She tells him to turn over. He's pitching tense. He turns over. A little something came out. Because, you guys know how that is. Like, a little something comes out ahead of time. And it gets on the thing. Nothing really nefarious could have happened other than him just turning over, and then he's got his thing facing down on the thing, and then gets on.
But, I mean, I think you can poke holes in that evidence as well. It's kind of how you are. Like, it's how much was there? Like, did you weigh it? I mean, no.
Well, there's a bunch, and there's also a bunch of chain of custody issues that go into that. Like, and I'm not sure if they're talking. This right now sounds like it's all just civil, not because people.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Well, I don't think the girl. It wasn't like the girls brought this forward.
They were sought out. And so, once they saw other ones going forward, they were empowered then. Like, again, I can't tell you all 9 girls that this happened to them, but I know at least half of them this did.
But I think what I'm saying, though, is I don't think there's any will on the part of the girls themselves to make this into a criminal case.
Yeah.
Or if they could, right? If statute of limitations are over, I don't think it doesn't sound like there was any will on their part to even have this be a civil case. But now that it's out, maybe they will.
So looking at his struggles, the other thing that I was told is that his wife found out midway through the season that this was happening.
So that's another question, though. Was it continuing into, like, to the present day? Or 3 months ago, or whatever. You know what I mean? Was it still going on even after he proposed? Or was this something that happened, it was 7 years ago, he didn't even know the girlfriend, and that's what he was doing. And I'm not saying it's any better.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, like, from her perspective, if it was still going on while they were dating and got engaged, she's probably going to kick him to the curb. Are they married now, or are they still?
They're married.
That's a divorce, and she's taking half.
Yeah.
But that's going to take some money away from the other girls to get from him. But
yeah, but I don't know. It's up to her. I mean, it's obviously their relationship if she wants to stay with him.
Yeah.
Because it is, again, going back to this. If this was, I don't know what the point of it is of going to a regular massage parlor and trying to get that to happen. The only analogy, and it's a bad one, if you guys have ever been to a strip club, you go out with the guys for a bachelor party or whatever. everybody wants to hit on the bartender, the only one with clothes on, not the stripper. I'm like, there's tons of naked ladies walking around, and you're flirting with the damn bartender. And I almost feel like it's kind of akin to that. But
well, if you go to the strip club, I know if I were to ever go to a strip club, it's awkward as fuck.
Yeah.
Because I know the person that's going to come over and give me a lap dance, they're doing it because they're going to get paid. It's not because they like me. And that's what makes it awkward.
Well, it's different for me. They all like me.
Of course.
All of them have.
I'm sure they do.
Years. So they're so interested in me when I walk in.
But I can see that's why, like, a friend would go up and hit on the bartender, because the bartender's not there to give them a lap dance or go home with them or do anything. So if they can, it's almost like the conquest for them.
Maybe, but I've always looked at it because it's the one girl that you don't get to see naked. You want to see her naked. I think that's because I've even been there where guys are trying to tip her and give her a big tip, like, "Hey, why don't you pop the top?" And it's like, come on, dude. Like, and again, I've known some girls that started out as bartenders in strip clubs that became strippers because of the money.
The money, yeah.
But
I'm so awkward. Last time I was at a strip club was my buddy's bachelor party 13, 14 years ago, but maybe 15. But I'm talking to the girl about coefficients of friction. So she kept sliding off the pole. I'm like, well, the problem is the coefficient of friction between your thighs and the pole isn't high enough. So here it was at McDougal's or some place like this girl's just going to be like, what, you nerd? Like, that's the nerd I am.
I get so uncomfortable, which is why I don't go to strip clubs. But like, so when I played football in college, our freshman initiation wasn't like hazing. What they would do is they would invite all the freshmen to an off-campus house, and they would hire strippers. And the initiation was you got a lap dance.
Oh, okay.
It was actually, as far as initiations go,
yeah,
it's one of the most tame things you could ever do.
Eating bugs or,
but the point of an initiation is that everyone goes through something together as a team, right? Well, this is what these older guys said. Okay, well, this doesn't have to be an unpleasant experience. We can all go through something fun together.
Yeah.
And so they basically hired 3 strippers, and they basically bought all the freshmen and everybody else food and it's the best initiation thing I've ever seen in my life. It was just so awkward though the girl it was my turn. I was like, I think I'm all right. She goes, why? She goes, because at this point it was like 50 guys looking at me getting a lap dance. I was like, this is a very awkward situation. And so she was very polite about it. And so she just it was very light at the time.
Yeah.
And then she just kind of went off to the next person. And I was like, thank you. That has nothing to do with Justin Tucker's situation. Because apparently he was not uncomfortable at all.
He was very comfortable.
Yeah, that's the only reason I bring it
Allegedly.
up is like to be that comfortable in just a regular salon. I mean, you're going to a salon. Mm-hmm. I don't know that you're getting a rub and tug at a salon, even if you ask politely. Even if you're Justin Tucker.
So it's like a commercial establishment, legit. Like I'd buy my wife a gift certificate to go there.
One of the places that I don't know if it was brought up in the article or not. It was the Quintessential Gentleman downtown, QG, where I mean. I know the owner. Like, you want to go down there and pay $50 for a haircut? Okay. I mean, but they're going to treat you great. They got cigars upstairs, alcohol. Like, it's really upscale. And then once they expanded to not just doing hair, there's massages and making it more of almost like a spa for men. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I keep going back to, and he can say that he's not banned from any of those. But why didn't you go back then? If you stopped going then, why didn't you go back? Yeah. They banned him.
Well, the reason would be because he didn't get what he wanted.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you go there trying to get this thing and you didn't get that thing, then you're going to try and go to the next place and get that same thing. The weird thing, it's just odd, though. And this is maybe because I don't think this way, you probably don't think this way, you don't think this way. Why not, if you have the money, and I'm sure, and I'm not saying the Ravens have this available to them.
Yeah.
But there's probably a guy that works adjacently or with the Ravens that probably has a list of high-end escorts.
I'm sure there's a dude who has all that,
right.
sort
so
of
why
thing.
Why not just use that?
Just being brutally honest, and I'm not going to name names, I'm not throwing anything out there. If I told you guys all the rumors that I heard about athletes, you guys would go, I don't buy that. That's not I've heard so many players, big name players, alleged to have gay sex with other players, with men, just because they've already had every sexual conquest you could possibly have, that they're looking for something new, and they don't consider themselves for gay doing it, or gay for doing it. And again, whatever you want in the bedroom. But this is something that's brought up, and I've heard rumors about. I mean, you name the biggest players, and I could sit here and tell you probably 10 or 15 Hall of Famers that were brought up to me. And I'm not saying I believe everything I've ever been told, because there are rumors. Like, I've been told from people that said they walked in on said player doing this.
It's thrill-seeking then, to a point.
Well, yeah, because you get to it. It's like anything. You get, like, for example, I mean, it's a bad example, but like me with my edibles. Like, I started off taking 5 milligrams, and now I'm taking, like, you build up this tolerance, and I feel like, it's probably a bad example, but with sex, you start to get bored. Like,
you're looking for the next thing. And right. I think that's one of the things that average Joes kind of look at these like, well, he would never do that. He can have any woman he wants. That's not the point. The point is, like you said, they're looking for that next. So maybe his next thing was like, yeah, I could go and not even like the shady guy that hangs out in the players' parking lot that everyone knows can get them whatever they want. Like, these people just walk in a bar and talk to any single woman and, oh, you play for the Ravens? And next thing you know, they're hooking up.
Those same guys that get illegal drugs for them, and I know a lot of stuff's legal now, but there's still other stuff out there like that. It goes on.
Yeah, I mean, but like for him, and we think just as average people, like, oh wait, I could, these guys get whatever girl they want, but that's not they want that next thing.
I mean, not that I ever thought we'd be going down this road, but kind of like the Diddy thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you heard Dave Chappelle's.
Yeah, but it's monologue. Exactly like that. Like, so, the rumors about him.
Well, so like, I guess Diddy had Carl, the guy who played Carl Winslow, was at the Diddy party. It's like,
oh, that's Reginald. What's his? Oh God.
Oh, I can't.
I should know his name from just watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine so much when they bring him in the show.
But like, it wasn't Diddy having. It was the power over another human being to make them do things.
Well, he made Cassie Ventura, the one that started this, and he paid her off so she didn't come out and say anything, and then all the other stuff broke. He made her have sex with other people. Like, There was that power thing. I was going to tell you about the movie Baby Girl. Mm-hmm. I just watched it, and my wife and I loved it, but it's another one of those, like, it's very graphic, sexual, like having control over a woman.
What's that one you asked me for?
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
The funny part was I was like, there's no one else is going to want this. Yeah. And then, lo and behold.
I couldn't wait to watch it. I heard great things about it. Not since Saltburn. I was telling Ed Norris, like, you got to watch that. You really like this one. I'm the one that told him to watch Saltburn. And if you never saw that, that's when the guy masturbates in the tub, and then the other guy comes in and drinks the water.
Oh, yay. All right, then.
Wow. Why did everybody make a frowny face on that? You've never done that?
Can't say that I have. I haven't even thought of that. But I didn't know. Is that a thing?
But again, that's the thing.
I'm not kinky enough.
When people would hear stuff about, like, was Puffy gay? Was he having...
Probably
they don't consider themselves gay. They're just, it's a thrill seek. Like, I'm dominant. Like, hell, if you went back to the Roman times and we started
to say that.
It happened way more than you thought.
They were doing some, even, like the especially when the Romans got decadent, but even before that, like, there were all the emperors and stuff would, have T-boys and all this stuff around, just decadent, crazy, because they had everything else.
So, as far as the Ravens are concerned, from a fan standpoint, let's say the Ravens look into this, because they probably already have. He gets cut, right? Or does he just, or do they say, look, man, you're at this certain age, maybe it's time to retire? Because if he retires, it kind of flows gently into the sunset in a couple months. No one's going to talk about it in a couple months.
I don't know what happens, honestly. Like, it's weird for me to talk about it because the Ravens, first off, the Ravens have a no tolerance policy, whatever that's supposed to mean, for domestic violence since the Ray Rice situation.
Is this really domestic violence?
Well, I'm saying it's a no tolerance for, like, I guess this could be considered sexual assault as well.
That is true.
You're hitting somebody with your wang.
Misconduct.
Yeah, misconduct. Yeah, fair enough.
Again,
but, like,
if he's hitting people with his wang, though, again, what has he got going? Just got a Wang Chung down. He's got to go down.
You think he practices using that to hold down the football and kick it?
Maybe that's his third leg.
But no, like when you look at this situation specifically with their no tolerance policy, does that mean now if there's no criminal suit, then there's nothing? Does the league look at it as the shield like they did with everyone else? Like Big Ben, nothing ever came from him raping that girl in that bathroom in Georgia. She got paid out. Nothing ever came to, but he still got suspended, whether you believe her or him.
I feel like that one went away real quick. Like they swept that under the rug real quick.
So I asked Rob this question. Do you consider payment an admission of guilt?
No.
No, because some people that essentially they look at it as how much is it going to cost to defend myself,
right?
And that's how all these lawsuits work. It's lawsuits with everything. So if someone's going to sue you for X, Y, or Z, they'll say, okay, we'd probably win this in court, but it's going to cost so much money in legal fees to win it, and effort and time and all this stuff, and the attorneys know it. So they'll say, okay, we're going to take what we know they'll give and walk with that. So it comes to the point where they don't care whether they're right or wrong. They just want the problem to go away.
But that's also why people question it when these things come up, because it is so easy to get money, right? And so it kind of flows both ways. But a lot of people say, "Oh, you paid it, you're guilty." No, you're trying to make something go away.
Yeah.
But then other people are like, well, the girls got what they needed. They got paid off, so it probably wasn't even true to begin with.
Yeah. And with that, whatever side you're on, you can find a way. So if you're pro Justin, you can go say, oh, the girls are just looking for money. If you're pro girls, you can be, oh, he paid it off because he's guilty, when in actuality, it's a purely financial transaction.
I don't think you can bring him back after this.
See, I went full conspiracy, and I was like, the Ravens knew about it, and we're like looking for an excuse.
Jerked him off.
We're looking for an excuse to get rid of him, and we're like, oh, all of a sudden this comes out. Right. See you, dude. Go sign with the Browns. You and Deshaun can hang out together.
Yeah, I just don't see how they can bring him back. And plus, I mean, I think he's on the last year of his deal, so like if they cut him, they actually get a cap savings out of it too. Not that should come in.
I don't know if it might be a June 1st cut too.
Yeah.
I don't know. We actually haven't, it's funny, and I don't know when this is going to air, but coming up on the show, we're having the Ravens salary cap guy, and we're going to talk to him about all these different things of how they can save money. Because the Ravens, just looking at them as a team, you have to restructure Lamar. You have to get some other guys restructured. Hell, we were all sitting here talking about, are they going to bring Mark Andrews back? Now it's like, how different is this team going to look next year?
So I think Mark Andrews is probably gone, and not because of the drops.
I thought he was gone before those drops. Yeah.
So he counts $9 million on the cap if they keep him, but it's cap savings of 11 if they don't, or it's the other way around. I forgot which one. I think it's the other way around. 11 million cap if they keep him, 9 million cap savings if they don't, and they're going to need that $9 million, in my opinion, because they can extend likely.
Well, they're going to have to. That's the guy. I mean, younger. Faster now. You're looking at it. He can definitely put up the numbers.
He's certainly a tight end one in the league. And then, believe it or not, I think what actually makes that move more possible is the fact that Charlie Kolar showed himself to be a competent tight end in the league, blocking and receiving. And Charlie Kolar was a receiving tight end coming out of college to begin with. The fact that he was competent and the few chances that he got before he broke his arm, I think actually makes it more likely to, not pun on words, but it makes it more likely to make that move because Kolar can play the number 2 role, likely can be the number 1. You can draft a 4th round tight end to be your number 3, and you get the cap savings to boot.
The Ravens have always drafted tight ends well, man.
Right. It's like D linemen too. The positions where, and this is why you and I had talked about this. I didn't think they should have paid Matabike. I think they should have let him walk. And I mean, you saw this year those two. They had Michael Pierce that was good enough in the run, and they had Washington and a couple other, and Travis Jones, who are more than good enough to be interior defensive linemen, and they wouldn't have had to pay that money because they find those guys in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, undrafted free agents, and they coach them up really well in the interior defensive line. They should have saved the money on Matabike. Now, Matabike is a different kind of player, I get that, but they could have used the money elsewhere. I think Marcus Williams is gone. He's a cap savings as well.
Yeah.
They're going to have I think they're going to have a decent amount of cap space if you let Mark Andrews go and Williams go. That's a big savings right there.
Yeah, but so restructuring Lamar is huge because now it's not just the guys you're letting go because money's going up for certain players, and his contract gets ridiculous because every quarterback does. it feels weird to say this now, like they got to get it done now, but in this offseason, it really is an important transition year because, like, I think their window's open when you have Lamar. I think you have a shot to win the Super Bowl regardless, and you can give me the issues in the postseason, all that stuff. But at the same extent, like, you want to keep this window even a little bit wider open so you can go get these pieces you need. You know, you want to be able to keep your star tight end, and I don't know how they feel about both tight ends, but I think ultimately they may end up trading Mark Andrews as opposed to cutting him.
It could be. I don't know if they're going to...
Like Miami's been brought up and New Orleans has been brought up with Tyrann Mathieu.
Well, and the reason to do that is because the Ravens love those mid to late round picks. They'll get a 4th round pick for him. I don't think they're going to get much more for him because he's only got 1 year left on that deal. They're going to need money for Zay. They're going to need money for Likely. Linderbaum.
They're probably letting Ronnie Stanley walk too.
And they should. In my opinion, and this is why. Ronnie Stanley has only had 1 healthy year since he signed that contract in 2020, and this was it. And it was just happened to be his contract year.
Well, you drafted a left tackle last year, which to me was the sign that they were going to replace him, and you moved Rosengard to right tackle, which he played some.
He was a right tackle in
That's
college.
because his quarterback was left-handed.
Right, but he was a right tackle.
But again, like, that guy's a left tackle. The only reason he's on, that's the primary side, the blind side.
Could he flip,
yes,
though?
100%.
Okay.
And I think that's what they do. And then
Okay.
you go find a right tackle because it's easier to find that.
Yeah. And then, so the other, I didn't think the offensive line was all that great this year. I know people said they got better. I think the left side, I think McCary is not going to be around. I think Voorhees is going to be the guy to finally slot in there. I know they tried him and they didn't like him for whatever reason. It was also his first year back from the knee injury. I think next year, I mean, you got to remember, he was a 1st round grade without the injury.
Yeah.
So if he, next year, after a full year back, he can slot into the left side, you got to do something with Falele, though. He is, and I know people say, oh, he plays better. He's not bad. He's really fucking bad.
He graded out well with Pro Football Focus this year.
And J.J. Watt says their Pro Football Focus is shit.
I like him.
If you look, the guy.
I'm saying Pro Football Focus, not Falele.
For me, the thing with Falele was, if it was a big defensive lineman who couldn't move, he was fine because he was huge. But he doesn't sink his hips. He doesn't get low. For a 6'7" guard, that's a death knell. The faster, smaller D lineman, and we saw this in the Buffalo game, they went right by him because he wasn't fast enough with his feet to slide over and block him or even get a leg on him. They would just go right. They would shoot gaps on him, and that's his death knell. Also, as a right guard, again, 7'7", 300-something, 400 pounds, he doesn't pull very well. So, and what that meant was when he was pulling to the left side, if anything happened to the left side of the line, even if they got pushed back a little bit, he couldn't scrape the line. So he wouldn't get out. And his pass blocking was abysmal. It is what it is. I mean,
they might end up losing Pat Ricard, too, to go along with that. So
I don't think they will. And the reason why I say this is the Ravens tend to spend they tend to spend the max amount of money at the secondary positions. For example, tight end.
Nick Boyle, when they paid him.
Nick Boyle, Mark Andrews, safety with Marcus Williams, with Earl Thomas, Weddle, like those guys, they tend to spend the top end of those secondary positions because they don't cost as much. Like a top end safety doesn't cost as much as a top end wide receiver, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what the Ravens tend to do. So I think the Ravens will make Ricard the highest paid fullback in the league, which isn't very difficult. Because it's not going to take that much money because not too many teams use a fullback.
I don't know if they'll make him the highest just because of Juszczyk. Because he's involved in the passing game, I think he makes more when you're traditionally just the blocker.
Yeah.
Like he's already, if you looked at just fullbacks that aren't pass catchers, primarily, like because Juszczyk might catch 40 passes, maybe more in a year.
I got you.
But again, if they want to keep him, it's going to cost over $1 million or $1 million plus.
Yeah, but again, $1 million plus.
It doesn't feel
it's
like
not
a
going to
lot.
hit the cap that bad.
And I think, but I agree with you. Like I think it's an important position that they bring back. Like it's funny, every white dude wants to see him get carries on 4th and 1. Like he's so big, he's going to do this or that, and everybody else is like, "What are you all talking about, man?" Like I think when you bring him in to block and. Like, for example, when they played Buffalo, he's bigger than 9 of the 11 guys on their defense.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he's like a little guard back there.
Yeah.
You know,
I love him. I think he's great, man.
I like it when he catches pass. I don't want to see him carry the ball. I want to see him.
Yeah, you want him out in space,
and I want Lamar to throw it to him because then I know it's business time. Because I know if a cornerback or a safety has to tackle that big ass,
yeah,
his eyes must just get huge when he sees him. By the way, the funniest picture I ever saw, and this is kind of go to Derrick Henry, who's also a big motherfucker. when he ran the ball and passed Patrick Queen from Pittsburgh. Did you see like the still photo?
Yeah,
he's got a grin like because everyone's looking at Queen's face, who's like, oh, he's got like the down face, like, oh. But you look at Derek's face, and it's just like a kid in a candy store with this huge grin on his face, like.
It reminds me of like a picture like with a dog who's running and their tongue's hanging out, and their ears are like just so happy.
The best time in the world. like he looks like the happiest person when he gets past that final person. It's just a grin from ear to ear, and then he's so fast for being as big as he is.
Well, he looks like a thin tackle running the. When he's out there,
dude, I swear, like I saw him in the huddle. I think he's taller. At least it looks. I could be wrong. It looks like he's taller than McCary, and he's almost the same height as Ronnie. And I'm looking in there going, "Holy shit!"
I think he's like 6'3", 6'4". Ronnie's like 6'6".
I know, but when you look at it on camera though, they kind of look.
Oh yeah, I mean sometimes too when you're huddling up, two guys are going to lean in. But
it just looks hysterical. Like, geez, he's a big. And the fact that he got so many yards, and the year before he didn't he did good in Tennessee. But I'm starting to think that Tennessee wasted that dude's career. Like, look what he did. Well, 30 years old. Or 31.
I think a lot of Ravens fans feel like they wasted how good that defense was with Kyle Bowler. But they didn't do. I mean, they didn't surround him with any talent. Like, it's so funny when you look at guys like Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson see more 8-man fronts, 9-man fronts, 10-man fronts than any other runner in the league. And they saw more stuffed boxes, which that's another thing I probably shouldn't be saying. But like they saw more than any other players, and yet they still have this type of success. And then you put them both in the backfield together with big-ass Pat Ricard in front of them as well. And that's why I was screaming all year long. You got to give Justice Hill some carries because the only time he's in the game is when you're throwing him the damn ball. So
the only thing I didn't like, well, not the only thing, Derrick Henry had a ton of carries. And I know he doesn't care. He's in impeccable shape. I mean, that's a ridiculous human being.
I think his dick has biceps.
It probably does. It's probably doing curls right now. It probably works out 3 times a week or 3 times a day.
It works out more than the 3 of us combined.
I hope someone asks him in the locker room. So we heard on a podcast that your dick has biceps. Is that true?
Someone said I remember it was last offseason. Derrick Henry apparently didn't go to one of the mini camps or something like that. And I'm like, are you people insane? He's probably working out 4 times a day on vacation.
He spends $170,000 or somewhere around that number on a nutritionist and home chef and his supplements.
Wow.
He does not strike me as a guy who takes off a workout day. He seems to just the way he
never skips leg day.
Yeah.
you think?
Every day's leg day.
Twice a day's leg day. You can. His legs are huge. They got to get him some pants that fucking fit though. I'm sorry.
Butt cheeks.
How many? I think with 3 games this year, we saw some butt cheeks. Mm-hmm. And it's not just Derek's pants that aren't doing him any job. Lamar keeps jacking his pants up. It's you didn't think much would slow the man down.
Yeah, is butt cheeks one word or should I spread them apart?
Spread them apart.
Okay, thanks. Question.
I think it was CBS Baltimore. Someone did an expose on the in-house tailor for the Ravens. Mm-hmm. Someone needs to get her number and be like, hey, can you get some pants you then got to pull up every 5 seconds? Yeah. He was running in the open field and he's pulling up his pants and he had to slow down for it. I'm like, so the opposing defense isn't going to slow him down, but his pants are?
Right.
We got to fix that.
he smoked everyone, then trips on his pants.
Right. And they had him mic'd up. I think was it during
when he was holding his pants up?
Yeah. They had him. He's like, I felt
in the wind on my ass or something.
That was the press conference he did. Yeah. But then it happened 2 or 3 games later where he's pulling up the sides of his pants again. Look, this is an NFL team. We got to get some pants that work for the man because we can't be having him slowed down by pants. Like, you got opposing defenders who run 4.4. You got big men who were 360, 400 pounds, and the pants are slowing them down. We got to fix this.
It's funny though because like even he's just so natural. Like watching a guy that's that athletic against the world's best athletes, holding up his pants and running by them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. That's the fact that he got in the open field and he just jogged past the dude that was 3 yards ahead of him. Just jogged past him, like he wasn't even trying.
Yeah.
He runs about the speed I would drive at. In that way,
I love those things where
22 miles an hour.
Yeah, I love it when they put the speedometer over top of them.
They need to do that more
and show them. And then remember the stupid Fox track puck?
Yes,
in hockey
when they changed the color of it.
It was so dumb. Yeah, and then
would turn the trailer too.
It would turn red when it went over 90 miles an hour or whatever. And they just have those because they have that feed of all that information all the time. Like if you could get that and see, because what I think is cool is not only their max speed, but the change in speed.
Yeah,
how they're running it they might be cutting and they're doing 15 miles per hour. Then all of a sudden they just bam and they're at 22 miles per hour. It's nuts. That's cool. I would also, kind of little off but related. I always wish you could watch the game from the Madden view.
Yeah,
rather than side to side, you could watch it up and down, north south.
They did that for a game this year. Where they showed that camera angle quite a bit. And you know what it was? It was either this year or last year. The feed went out, and the only camera that was working was behind them.
Okay.
And people were like, I really like this view, because now you're seeing the field as the quarterback sees it. I have an issue with, again, I don't remember if that's first or third person or whatever. I can't watch, those movies that are, when they're filmed that way. You were talking about, virtual reality.
Yeah.
I can't do that because it makes me sick.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it makes me injured.
Yeah.
But no, I like, because there's so much out there now, and I think these, with all the NFL, the season passes, all the stuff you get to watch it. It'd be nice if you built in, because everything's going to menu pricing anyway. I'd pay for it. Where if you could watch the game from that Madden perspective, because I love watching the offensive line. That's what I played, but you can't see it because the camera just follows the ball. And if you could watch those blocking schemes, see how they develop, and maybe not have to listen to, Collinsworth verbally fillet Pat Mahomes, listen to a football nerd talk about it, rather than these douchebag commentators oh, look at Pat Mahomes. Dude, hey, your little Chubbs is starting to show through here.
It's so funny you're saying that because Greg Olson was he didn't hold back. He's I hope I'm doing this. He's the best analyst that any one of them have at former football players. Brady sucks. Romo's so over the top, it's ridiculous. And he even said he was passed up for Tom Brady. Had never done a game before. And you understand why, because of the name. But he's one of the best analysts they have. And he doesn't sit here and fawn over these guys.
Yeah. And that's what gets me. That's, as this Super Bowl, which I had threatened to not watch at all, which is a lie. I'm going to watch it. But to just listen to him just drool over this dude, we know he's good. Everyone can see him.
Joe Buck used to do the same thing with Aaron Rodgers, too, though.
Yeah.
It just gets annoying.
It's dude, is there a wet spot there? What's the...
all of a sudden, while they're doing the game, while they're doing maybe it's on the massage table. But all of a sudden, during the middle of the broadcast, hey, Joe, something come up over there?
And I liked Romo when he first started because he had just finished playing and knew all these guys and was saying but now all those dudes are gone.
So can I tell you the one thing they do that's very disingenuous that pisses me off is Romo will go, I think this is a hold on 17, and realizing he's looking down at the ref that's right next to 17 going this. Well, just say it's a hold on him because you're watching it. Don't try to make me think that, oh, yeah, Romo sees everything. And sometimes these guys are told about trick plays and different ththings they're going to run during the game. They just can't talk about it until it happens. And then they act like, hey, Jim, I wonder if this is going to be... No, you knew it was going to... They told you before the game they were doing it. It just drives me nuts. I just think... Because when I'm hosting a radio show and someone asks me a question, I will tell you if I'm looking it up or if I know it off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that look the stuff up and pretend like they know it because it makes them sound smarter.
You brought up an interesting point when we were talking about camera angles. And I think one of the reasons why they don't do the Madden camera angle is because it's too wide. Mm-hmm. And it would make the players look too small.
Yeah.
for people to actually see the game. I think that might be part of it. So they would have to zoom in more and basically cut out the.
You'd lose like your wideouts.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that
But you
might,
know you can watch that on the All-22.
Okay.
You can watch the entire football game from that view.
Yeah, I'll have to.
So the thing I was going to bring up though, and this kind of moves. This goes into the last segment of this portion of this topic, is right now. So you've got Netflix that has games. Amazon Prime has the Thursday games. I believe CBS also puts all their games on Paramount Plus. Mm-hmm. Fox doesn't have a streaming platform, so I don't think
Well, they have
stream
FS1. And,
yeah, but they don't stream it though. I don't think.
No, but I think no, not with the NFL. You're right. Yeah.
And then you've got YouTube, which has the Sunday Ticket, but they don't have certain games. I don't believe. This kind of reminds me of what happened last year with the MLB. And the MLB put certain games on
Apple TV on Friday
TV.
nights.
Yes.
Peacock on Sunday afternoons.
Right. And so people who just had cable couldn't watch these games. And I think it might affect baseball more than football because there are a lot of older guys who are baseball fans that just haven't adopted technology. They don't have the Roku box or whatever to have the apps on it. And if you do the MLB TV subscription, you still don't get some of those games. I mean, Apple pretty much locked those games out. They said it's going to be on us and us only. At what point does all of the segmenting of these streaming of these games hurt the sport? Now I know the sport in general, they're getting.
I think
paid.
it's already started.
I mean, the NFL is getting paid by these people. I get that, right? But I feel like further down the line, and this could happen with the MLB too, because they're taking like Yankee games, Oriole games. Like these are not small fan bases that want to watch every game, and I'm sure a lot of them paid for the MLB.TV package, and then found out later that they didn't get this one game, and they were probably really pissed off about it. So, at what point down the road do you think it starts to hurt the bottom line?
I mean, I think some of that's already started, but they make so much money that you're not really seeing things go down. When you expand to 17 games, and oh, by the way, if the ratings drop and you've picked up another television provider or app or something like Netflix, Netflix paid, what was it, $50 million for 2 games?
Yeah.
On Christmas Day? Like, that's absurd.
And that's just the first dip.
Yeah.
After the ratings they saw on that, they're gonna be in on it next time.
And the news came out this weekend too. So the NFL is playing in Spain next year, and now they're playing in Australia. And it's like, why?
That's a 23-hour flight. It's just
and again, it's L.A. and Philadelphia, and then we looked it up and said, oh, well, maybe the West Coast is a little bit better. It's 18 hours from L.A.
Yeah.
How are you going to have these guys play a game like that in the middle of the season? They're going to have to take a bye afterwards because it messes up the play. Like, people don't understand it. It's like, these guys are millionaires. They should be able to. That's fine. But if you're talking about a competitive balance, making someone lose basically 2 days out of their week, try to get right, and then play a football game, it's unfair.
So I played, and I think a lot of football fans never played the game at any sort of level. So, like, I played high school, I played in college, and I played other sports. I played ice hockey and lacrosse, too. Yeah, tailback.
You told me that. That's right.
But the thing is, like, football takes so much out of your body that you need that time after, because if the NFL could have these teams play 2 days a week, they would.
Yeah, if you've ever been in a minor accident, right, and you get those aches and pains the next day, those guys look like they've been in a car accident until right around Thursday, Friday. That's why I think Thursday Night Football is unfair to them.
Yeah, we'd sit, like, here we are, like when I was in college, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids sitting in ice baths, stiff, unable to move for 2 days after the game. Like, we didn't practice. You play a game on Saturday. Sunday is like all just treatments. Yeah. That's all it is. Monday's tape. You're not even moving again until Tuesday. So, like, and a lot of people are like, oh, well, they're millionaires and this and that. Your body just can't take it.
Yeah. Your body doesn't know you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
You're human.
No.
As in shape as like a Derrick Henry's going to be, he's still human. His body's still taking the abuse. Yes, there's things you can mitigate it to recover faster, but you're still taking those bruises.
Yeah.
It doesn't magically heal.
They get the best treatment now that you could possibly get. Hyperbaric chambers, the top notch, like nutritionists coming in trying to keep them. Well, you need to do this. You make sure you don't add some weight to this, and all the different medical things. Like being at LifeMed, they have this new thing where you put. It's almost like you put on waders, like pants, like you're going to go wade in the water and go fly fishing, and it fills up with air, and it does like it gets your blood flow through your legs. And I'm going, this thing's so weird, and I got to try it on. I'm like, I feel amazing when I got up from that.
Do you still go to LifeMed?
Yeah.
Okay. Do they do IV therapy? Mm-hmm. So my wife she was sick. She had bronchitis and everything. She was feeling awful. She had IV therapy, and they had one, like they called it the emergency. Mm-hmm. And so basically it fills you up with vitamin D, vitamin B, zinc, something, I don't know, a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm not scientific. I failed biology. Anyway, she had felt awful. She got the IV, took about 45 minutes. The next 2 days, she felt really good. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't realize it could make that big of an impact.
So, I mean, all the things that your body's missing, but also, like, it's funny. The one I get at LifeMed, I think is called Rehydrate. And it's the one I always get. You go in there, you automatically taste like you're eating orange Flintstone vitamins. That gets in your mess of taurine or whatever that's coming through. But they have all these different ones and ones that are good for certain things. But I've told people, if you're ever going to have a bender and go out drinking for a weekend, either schedule to go in on that Friday and pump your body full of fluids and go enjoy yourself, or come in on that Monday, and you'd be amazed at how you feel. Whenever you're sick or whenever you're hungover, dehydrated, oh my God, you feel like $1 million when you come out of the chair.
I think that's like the next evolution in health for a lot of people. And this is, I'm tying this into the health thing. So we had it done here. Like the lady came to the house and in and out 45 minutes. The fact that she didn't have to go to an emergency room to get checked out, because, I mean, like I said, she was really sick. They don't take insurance, but the price wasn't so exorbitant that you wouldn't do it, right? And it was probably the same amount as like a copay for an ER visit. So, I think the mobile IV healthcare thing might be the next big thing for, and it might already be here, but it might be the next big thing for ordinary folk to kind of go into that. I think LifeMed's in Glen Burnie, right?
Well, LifeMed's all over the place in Columbia, Towson, Rehoboth Beach. There's one in Bel Air. Is
it all IV therapy? Or?
I mean, they do everything. So, like,
they do peptides.
They don't do they don't do rub and tugs though.
Oh, if you ask nicely,
okay.
And I hope they're listening. Kent he's the one that comes out and does it. He has a voice like who was the guy on Ray Romano's show? Brad Garrett, got a deep voice like him.
Nice calloused hands, so it's get a little bit of friction going.
So you peptides, like, again. So they're doing weight loss stuff, and I'm giving them a huge plug here. Erectile dysfunction, which a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it's fine. Like whether it's
we talk about.
Oh yeah, we do.
I talk about it all the time.
Vitamin C.
They have all these.
When we talk about vitamin C, we ain't talking about.
Yeah,
we ain't talking about
it's
that.
It's not the kind you get from orange juice.
Well, and with all the things that
it's not cocaine.
They have something called Gainswave, and I just like telling this story because one of the nurses there that does it. So Gainswave, essentially, they take like this. I don't know what you want to call it, and they stretch your penis out and they run it over it, and it clears the plaque out of it. And it sounds like
your penis got plaque in it.
What? If this was a video, that would have been a stare. Because as soon as you said they run the plaque out of it, Mike and I look at each other and go, we got plaque in our dick?
Well, it just breaks it up so you can get an erection on your own, so you don't need the pills or anything. And it's funny because I was like, I said, well, do they go by size? Like, would mine be cheaper than, say, like a black guy? She goes, oh my God. She goes, you should have seen the one guy. I told them to charge him triple. I was in there 3 times as long. It's the biggest one I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, like they have a lot of different things and so many things for the women on the other side too, when you're talking about spa treatment type stuff and, all the, you talk about injections and things like that.
Are they in Annapolis or no?
I don't think they're in Annapolis yet, but they are expanding pretty fast. Man.
I'm surprised there isn't like a Pearl Center,
especially
like all that new stuff.
You know where they were supposed to be? They were supposed to be in Live Casino, and then they had a huge falling out with the guy that runs it. So they ended up, because of, again, they have tie-ins like MMA fighters, and John Rollo does the Shogun fights there, and they're a big sponsor of that. So it's like it was a perfect tie-in.
You know, it's like my only experience with any sort of IV stuff was I got all banged up one night before my oldest was born, and like I've had the worst hangover I've ever had in my life. Couldn't keep fluids down or anything. So we were over at my buddy's house on Kent Island, and his wife was a paramedic, and she had lactated ringers and Zofran. And I'm sitting there, she goes, "Oh, you need a tune-up." And she just spikes a bag, and it was like hitting a switch.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. They do it on cruise ships. Like, because last cruise I was talking to one of the crew members, and, "Oh, yeah, you go down." 90% of what the medical staff on the cruise ship does is treating hangovers from the day before.
So I got the old okey doke in Key West. We went down for a bachelor party. And as soon as we got off on the flight, you walk down, it says IVs as low as $75 in the name of the company. And I'm like, oh. So our last day there after going out, our last full day there after going out drinking like ungodly the night before, me and two of the other guys are like, we're going to go get an IV. And the lady's just sitting there. She goes, "Would you like me to put this in it? Would you like me to put that in it?" Not telling us that each one is like an extra $30. My IV cost me $425 when all was said and done. And I'm going, you bastard. And then my buddies were like so upset that they didn't even tip the lady. I still did because I always do. But yeah, she gave us the old okey doke on it. And when I came back, I told Lifeman, I was like, I was so pissed off because you can get, like, they're fair prices for it. Yeah. I think for what you're getting out of it.
So I think the one my wife got, I think it was like 200 or no,
sounds about right if you get some extra stuff in it.
It was under that. I think it ended up being like 180 was the total, and that was with like 6 or 7 different things in it.
Yeah, but ER copay is what, $150, $100 or something. I mean
I've seen them. I've seen 200. If you got to go with an ambulance, it's another $250 with that. But I mean, I will say, Anne Arundel County, we get the ambulatory service is pretty nice to have, and I don't think we pay for it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's paid by taxes, but I think you get charged $200 or something like that.
Well, yeah, it depends on.
It's something weird.
So, like, some fire departments do third-party billing. So, like, they'll bill your insurance, but if you don't have it, so if you have no insurance, it costs you nothing. If you have insurance, they do so they'll bill your insurance, and your insurance sends you a bill. It's like, well, I should have had no insurance.
Right.
That's why I still laugh about like taxes. It's like, yeah, you got to tell us how much you owe us. When you don't pay the right amount, it's like, you owed us this. Well, why didn't you send me that?
Yeah, why did you send me a bill, dude? Why am I doing all this?
Right.
Yeah. We want to catch you messing up.
Yeah, it's I think that's the new wave. It's going to be the new thing. You're going to see ads for it all over the place. Not that it's not, and not that it's not good, but there's going to be some companies that kind of fudge some stuff or whatever they charge for. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be ripe for someone to like try and screw some people over, but that's why it's important. Know the companies you're going with. So you heard it here first, LifeMed. Where to go to get your vitamins?
Get everything there. Plus, when you walk in,
except the rub-a-dub.
When you walk in, you'll be the ugliest person in the building. Everybody's beautiful there.
Well, I guess I can't go then.
That's my normal.
Yeah, that's every building I walk into.
If I walk in the door, I'm going to feel. I can go in for my daily dose of what's the word? Words are difficult. I knew this was going to happen. I'll get my weekly dose of shame for my looks. Well, we appreciate you guys listening. Please like, subscribe, comment. If you can, when you're listening on Spotify, Apple, rate the podcast. Even if you want to give us a one star, we'll take it. Thanks to Tua's Burner for rating us 1 star, telling us we're stupid.
Cool.
I think most people, to be honest, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that
Tua had a burner.
Apparently, there's a lot of people with the 5-star ratings. I think it's their mom's doing it for them. We get real listeners. They give us the 1 star because they hate us so much.
But we never profess to be geniuses.
No.
It's okay if you hate listen as long as you listen.
Yeah. Bingo. That's why we've said that since day one. You want to hate listen? Go ahead and hate listen. Thanks to Adam Chubbuck, Tech MD. Go ahead and have Adam give you some advice on your real estate stuff. Like I said, I've talked to Adam before, talking about investment property. For my $5,000 that I'm looking to do something with. But no, go to Adam. Get some advice if you're going to be looking to get in the real estate market. Or getting out if you're trying to sell. He's another person to talk to. Sells houses quick. He does very nice as far as his his photos that he takes of houses. As someone who looks at real estate listings all the time, he does a nice job with the drone shots, and then he also does really nice interior shots as well. So go to adamtacmd.com, give him a call. Douglas Realty, Pasadena, Maryland. We'll see you guys next week.